everybody. We have some extra friends here tonight. We have my mom, who you can see the back of, and we have Bibi, my mom's little dog. So we're being tested tonight. And so what'll bring you more joy and laughter than some extra distractions. So thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate you. Make sure that you give the video a like and feel free to share it out as well. And so I'm Tanja with Adventures for Connection. And Adventures for Connection was started to get like-minded people together. And first of all, it's getting to know yourself. So connecting you with body, mind, and spirit. And then with like-minded people and creating these beautiful events. So and getting you to know yourself better and then connecting with like-minded people. And then of course we got Norma Jean. Norma Jean, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
She can hear my voice.
She can. You want to see her? She's right here. Nope. So yeah, I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing awesome. You know, it's a beautiful time to know that, you know, you get to come together with the people that you love and that you cherish and just enjoy every bit of it. You know, no matter, you know, this is just a time for connection, and it doesn't matter how it happens, just as long as it's genuine and it's full of love and care and understanding, then, you know, you can get through anything with all that. So,
right. Awesome. So it looks like we're not playing everywhere. So I've just asked the team in the chat if whoever's on Rumble will post it after the show. But if you can swing over to YouTube or to Facebook and catch us there, that would be great. I'm just hearing that it's the intro loop still playing. So it says it's connected. So I don't know why it's not, but we'll have to look at a little bit later. Yeah. Hi, Cheryl and Eddie. How are you? Arizona in the house. Awesome. Yes, and we've got the tree in the background downstairs. That's my daughter decorated it, and we've got a pink theme. So, yeah, in keeping with bringing joy and love, because it's one of the accent colors in my life right now. So, yeah. How's everyone doing tonight? Let us know in the chat. How you doing? Where are you at? Where are you coming in from and tuning in from? And do you have any questions? Because I find around the holidays, it can be a lot of expectations of people, a lot of emotions running high. So energy and motion. And if energy is just emotion as an emotion, you know it will come and go. And so we've been commenting the last few days that even if it takes biting the tip of your tongue a little bit to maybe take a moment and rather than reacting to respond, that would be really, really beautiful. Yeah. And so that's what we want to chat about a little bit tonight. And I might share the little Christmas history that I came up with it popped into my head. I'd heard it before, this story. And of course, it's a story that I always do. So let's pull an extra camera and I will share with you this beautiful little story about the beginning of Santa. And so it has a history on it that comes with reindeers, red and white, pine trees. Yeah, you like that? I got the thumbs up. I have no idea where that comes from, but I'm not going to complain. And a little story about going out into the stratosphere and coming back with messages and gifts, so to speak. So yeah, it's really super cool. And I am just going to pop that up in here in a moment. There we go. And let's pull the stream off. I just got to adjust a couple things. I just thought this was really good to share because most people don't talk about this stuff. All right. The influence of hallucinogenic mushrooms on Christmas. How fascinating. And let me just scroll through a little bit. And this is only from a couple years ago. And an anthropologist have investigated fungi, the religious and ritualistic perspective, and also their psychotropic properties. In their research, both came to the conclusion that Amina muscaria mushroom is closely related to the Christmas imaginary. Hundreds of years ago, it was found that the winter solstice ceremony of the indigenous people of the North Pole, especially the Koryaks of Siberia and the Kamachadles had similar traditions to the ones of the last century's Christmas Eve. In the ancestral communities of the Arctic, the winter solstice, which occurs on December 21st, was a ceremonial and festive date. Rituals were conducted that were guided by shamans who collected the Amanita muscaria mushrooms, also called the fly agaric, which has powerful hallucinogenic properties. Amanita muscaria is striking and characteristic to appearance with its red hat and white dots. It grows in the ground near trees such as birch and pine. The latter, for the indigenous people of the north, are trees of life, a name that related to their great height. Therefore, the place where the fly agaric mushrooms grew was a place of particular value. The toxicity of the mushroom when ingested is high, so before taking it, they had to dehydrate them on the branches of the pines. A second possibility was to put them in socks and spread them over the fire, an image that closely resembles the Christmas tradition of hanging Christmas boots over chimneys. Additionally, the reindeer were of great help in reducing the toxicity of the mushroom, since they can eat Amanita muscaria without suffering the effects of its venom. Thus, the urine of the animals used, since it had already filtered the harmful components of the mushroom, but which still maintained its hallucinogenic effects. Who knew? Reindeer getting high. After the shaman had ingested the mushrooms or drunk the urine of the reindeer, the hallucinate, I can't say it tonight, and reactions of the Amanita began, such as feelings of joy, desire to sing, increased muscle tone, so any physical effort was easier to perform. Look how big that mushroom is. The legend says that during their trips to the shamans managed to see the future of community. They could turn into animals and fly towards the North Star in search of knowledge to share with the rest of the people. At the end of their journey, they would return to the group in their yurt, the type of housing typical of the inhabitants of the region at that time, and met with the important men of town to begin with the solstice ceremony, in addition to sharing their visions with the community. Shamans' psychotropic journeys are believed to be related to the idea that Santa Claus travels with his sleigh and reindeer through the skies to deliver gifts. The gift given by the shamans was the knowledge that the mushroom gave them, in addition to sharing portions of it among those present. Another similarity with the Christmas imaginary is that the entrance to the yurts was a hole in the roof because the main door was covered in snow. Thus, the shaman made his appearance descending from the highest part of the house, similar to Santa descending through the chimney. Clothing is another similarity, since to honor the Amanita muscaria, the shamans dressed in red and white clothes, and to protect themselves from the snow, they used large reindeer leather boots that over time turned black. Over time, the shamanic archetype changed, and it's said that with the travel of Druids, this tradition spread to Great Britain. Then, through cultural exchange, it was combined with Germanic and Nordic myths that related adventures such as those with the Wotan, German god Odin, his Nordic counterpart, and other gods who, when traveling during the winter solstice, were chased by demons in sleighs, pulled by an 8-legged horse. It is said that a trail of red and white blood fell from the sleigh, and that the horses frothed white foam to the ground, where the Amanita mushrooms would appear the following year. With time, Christianity related the Christmas tradition to the fourth Turkish bishop, Saint Nicholas of Bari, who also inspired the characteristics of Santa Claus, since he used to give gifts to those in need, especially to children. A cheerful, playful, and the same realistic Santa Claus was the commission of Coca-Cola gave the illustrator Hannon Sundblom in 1931, hence the current image of Santa Claus. Thus, the power of the Amanita muscaria mushroom has marked the history of Christmas until today. The rites on the dates close to the December solstice are preserved until today with clear modifications, but the mushroom remains present through Christmas decorations and designs that connect us with hundreds of years of tradition. What do you think, Norma?
Beautiful story. So much better than the one that they've been telling us all this time. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really cool. It's quite beautiful. Yes. Lori, hello from Saskatchewan. Yes, Smith, you are correct. Hello, Mike. Hello, FCB. Hello, Metal Lab. Awesome. And apparently I streamed over something on FCB. Sorry, FCB, I didn't mean to. I learned about deer getting high off shrooms at rehab. Oh, thank you for sharing. Yeah, absolutely. We're so grateful for you guys showing up and appreciate you very much. So let's go into maybe some other traditions in my family and share your traditions. It's about getting a puzzle. It's the once a year I actually do a puzzle because there's enough downtime to hang out and do a puzzle. And we didn't have snow this year here in North Vancouver, so I bought a puzzle with some snow on it and some some trees with snow, and it's the easy part's now been done from last night, and now we're into the tricky part. So, and then of course we did put a tree up this year. I do have an 18-year-old daughter who didn't like the idea of a small living tree because how the heck are we going to decorate that with our decorations? So I got shut down on that one. And we have mincemeat tarts generally, shortbread. And we also run with pumpkin pie. It's in the oven right now for tomorrow, and I will end up doing a turkey. So, yes. Hi, Denise. Hello, Metal Lab. Yeah. What are some traditions in your family, Norma?
Let me answer that after I go to the oven.
Of course, she's going to go turn off the pumpkin pie. I also make homemade cranberry sauce. And for me, it's more about connecting, having some games, having some good snacks, and just ruminating on the year and what are you grateful for? So I'm really grateful for all of you in the community. I'm really grateful for everything I've learned. I've learned so much this year, not just about myself, but about some of my travels. I've learned more about our history. I've learned so much about what I would love to do moving forward and how I'd like to behave. Learn that home is always where I am. It's not necessarily tied to any one particular place. And that's been a big one because I've been here for 18 years here now. And so I will be looking to travel almost full time moving forward within the next year. That's what I'm being told right now. And so that'll give us an opportunity. This is BB, named after BB-8 the robot, the one that doesn't stop moving. That's this one right here. And she's got little bells on right now. She's got her little Christmas on. Yeah. And she's a bit of a squealy one. Metal Lab says, we in Serbia, by our Christmas Orthodox tradition, don't have Santa Claus. We have Christmas Boy. Our Christmas is on the 7th of January and New Year on the 15th. Yeah, I think you're probably closer to one calendar over the one we're following, which, yeah, might even relate better to some of the astrology, because I always relate the astrology to what's going on in the sky now versus what is on a calendar. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Laura's also grateful for the FCB family connection. Awesome. And Norma, how about you? Any family traditions, and what are you grateful for this year?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, growing up, of course, I grew up in a Christian family, so it was something that wasn't celebrated in our home. So it was a very few in between times. Like if we would go to my mom's family, then we would celebrate by just having a big gathering or get together, or if we went and spent time in Alabama with my dad's family. And so it was something that I guess you would say there really wasn't a tradition, so to speak, but it was definitely beautiful when we'd be able to go up and have that gathering and spend that time with cousins and all that. And I suppose that definitely was something that I guess about the only thing I can say was traditional was being able to have that family time, because I come from a huge family, both sides. And when you come from huge families, you have a tendency to build up a characteristic or personality with traits that, you take your family as they are and you just enjoy them and you have fun. So if there was anything that I did get from this, I guess the tradition that I set up was being able to accept every part of my family as to who they were individually and just love them as they were.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always came down. So we lived in northern BC for quite a few years, and we always came down to the coast, which was always very exciting to hang out with cousins and family. And it was always about going around and visiting everyone, and very, very similar. Yeah, absolutely. And what are you grateful for this year?
So much. The gratitude is beyond comprehension as far as everything that has just transpired and taken place for me this year. it's been like almost a warp speed kind of gratitude and appreciation for everything that has presented itself, the many ventures, the many travels, and I'm not just talking about here either. I'm just saying that probably the greatest thing that probably the most thing that I can be grateful for is that I'm getting to know more about who I am. And as I'm doing that, I'm grateful for you and in where I'm at and where our connection has become so much stronger in us understanding one another at the levels that we are and being able to bounce off of that. So I have an enormous amount of gratitude. As far as where this one day is concerned, my gifts have been coming for quite some time.
Beautiful. Absolutely. And, it's funny because maybe a lot of people don't realize how we actually met as well. So we met on Telegram. And it was around my first trip to Egypt. So I came into this FCB collective as a bit of a guide to give another perspective on what goes on in the world and my perspective on it, and how to sit in a really neutral point and be able to just hold space with love and not be judgmental and not criticize and not cause division. Because really what we really want is we all want the same thing. We all want to make sure that we, have food, housing, right? That we're taken care of, right? We all want that same thing, and that peace and the freedom. So we really all want the same thing. So no matter what somebody else's perspective might be, we can still meet in that spot. And that is our mission at this time in the world right now. And Norma Jean had reached out to share something that happened in Egypt for her. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Well, it wasn't Egypt, but it was a travel, actually.
Travel, yes.
Thank you. You was the one fixing to leave for Egypt, and it just happened to be I caught you like a few days.
That's right.
Used to leave out. And it was just it was a travel dealing with so much of just everything that was going on at the time, because I was at that, what you would say, in between phase of finding out the truth about, what had transpired and was taking place. And it was kind of like a conglomerate in a way, where it was what was going on in the world and where I was beginning to expand in my understanding of what I was doing, at night when I go to sleep. And in this travel, I was in this. It seemed like it was like a spaceship, but it also seems like it was like inside a mountain. But the walls around was like had a metallic look to it, and it was quite interesting because Trump Jr. and his wife was there, and they were in this ship just hovering. And what was below them was what looked like a honeycomb kind of floor, and lights were coming up from there. And in this travel, I was dipping in and out of all these honeycombs, and I was cleansing it, and it was cleansing me. And this was a story that I shared with you, and the purpose of the reason why I did that was when I seen you on FCB, it was just like I just knew who you were. It was just an immediate knowing and connection that, that never won't leave when you've had time with another being. And we're not talking about human beings. We're talking about the beings that we are before we come here to have this human experience. And so from there, I followed you through what you were, experiencing through Egypt. And, this connection just kept becoming more and more and just grew from there. And it's just been just so experiential from that point forward. So.
Yeah, we've had a few travels together physically now as well. And we've realized that we're supposed to work together in this mission. So it's been confirmed that, given her gifts of traveling and my gift of knowing, that we're able to create this bridge, because we have a different perspective, but they're similar perspectives. And so then we have this ability to give you guys these perspectives that we really truly believe will be almost like a key for you moving forward. And so we've been working on something called
genealogy.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you want to just give a quick tip on genealogy and how maybe what is you find online isn't quite the full deep truth of it?
Right. Well, when you come to understand genealogy, it's like you're taking different or the many tools that are out here, like numerology. Excuse me. And what you're doing is you're understanding that numerology, geometry, planets, stars, these systems that for so long we've been taught so many different things about. Ultimately, when you get down to the origins of the beginning of it, really does have a connection with us as humans, because what's outside of us is what is within us. And so when you get a chance and opportunity to understand and you gain that knowledge and that fullness of the full disclosure of what they really represented for us, they were just guides out here for us as we journeyed, because at this time we were explorers. It wasn't what it is that it is today, as to how this all began. And when you begin to understand that and you apply this genealogy, then you use the numbers to understand who you are by the numbers for the days of the week. And it doesn't go in a sequential order because everything has an order. And when you can get your hands, or when you can understand how all this order comes together, then you begin to understand how you have a better grasp on who you are, why you're here, what your purpose is. And so, for an example, with the genealogy that I'm coming in to understand, the information that I'm, absorbing and is resonating, is that Sunday through Saturday, the numbers go 1, 2, 9, 5, 3, 6, 8. And even though 7 and 4 is there, it's representative of something. So, noise. Your end.
Not that I know of.
Okay, so it's so when you come to understand the order of this, because all these numbers represent all of us, but there are specific numbers that when we understand from our birth date, we can take and utilize the information from that and be able to understand our strengths and our weaknesses and find ways to be able to come together with those two and find commonality, which will be able to help you center better in your knowledge and understanding of why we're here, how we came to be, why we've come so far, why it seems that some things are what they are and why they aren't. There's just so much to this, but it's such a plethora of information to bring together to be able to use as a guidance and a tool to better feel as though you can manage what is happening in your life. Because when you have this, then you can grow from this, and it helps you expand in your knowledge and understanding of self first, because that's where it has to begin.
That makes so much sense. Absolutely. And so can you tap in a little bit? Do you recall what maybe one of your numbers is to share with everyone?
Sure. Like you have what's considered a destiny number and a psychic number. And my psychic number is 3, my destiny's 2. So when you look at this, your destiny number is important, but not as important as your psychic number, because your destiny number is more of how people see you, how they perceive you, and you just get that that understanding. And your destiny number deals more with the two aspects of yourself on the feminine and masculine level, on the as above, so below, and all that. But the psychic number is the number that let's see, I'm trying to remember what was number 3. I can't remember right now.
That's okay.
But
okay. And it also relates to a stone. And
yes.
Yeah. You have a specific stone. You have specific scents that are good for you. You have specific metals that are good for you.
Yes.
So you have crystals that are beneficial, and you have a day of the week that is your best day to be getting things done. So you start to realize that, oh, I can plan a little differently and I'll be more in my natural flow state. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So when you get understanding this, these are tools and modalities that, they help balance you in certain levels and degrees. Like if you get this specific crystal that it says that represents your number, then what that does is something that can be utilized as you understand what the crystal is for, how you can utilize it. And of course, you have colors that they speak to that you can wear that will help you for that day. Like, because I'm a number 3, my day is Thursday. So, and then it tells you about, what your moods are. It tells you basically your purpose, so to speak, as to what it is you're mastering here in this now time space, as far as where your journey is concerned.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And I really like it because it makes sense. It resonates. It resonates. And it tells you also what type of food, right? What type of food is best for you, because you get, with the Ayurvedic system, you get your kapha or your dosha is, right? So you get to find all these different, just helpful things. And for the first time, it's like, oh, that went back far enough to find the truth. So every time you hear of something or believe something, I highly recommend we go back as far as we can and see if we can find the very origin. So it's the original. And do you want to speak a little bit about Saban so that if people wanted to check him out, they could?
Sure. It was actually kind of interesting because you had sent me a YouTube video with him. And from there, it was like I just kept going back to listen to what he was speaking to on just many things. And he does have a YouTube channel on, and it's called Understanding. But from there, it's been like with him, because of how he delivers the information that he has just studied over the years. He has a way of how he delivers the message where you have a level of understanding as to what he's speaking to, how he's speaking to it, how he takes and puts it together for you to be able to understand its utilization, how to better find that balance within self. And so he also has a website called Secret Energy, if you want to go check it out. But a lot of what I'm learning is where he's been able to just take in. He has, like what you say, pockets of information over the different understandings of how this world actually was created, how it's come to be, by just reading all this information and being able to bring it together to understand how to break it down in its original text and from its original origins, by all that he meditates on it and comes through for that information, to know that he's not going to deliver a message that doesn't have the facts that will follow suit to what he's speaking to. And the way that he brings those facts out, and the clarity in how it is that he delivers that message is quite profound for me. And it helps me to tap into the blueprint of my DNA. That is like, I see that, I understand that, I know that, I feel that. So it's one of those that there's so many markers within myself that speaks to what you're following, what you're hearing, what you're being shown, how it's being, the message is being delivered, just speaks volumes of truth. And so it's been, a journey for, especially in the last week, man. It's just been nothing but pop, 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 pop. And it's because I can hear what he's speaking to. I'm not going to sit and say that I hear everything he's speaking to, but in what it is that I'm coming to understand, I'm building a greater foundation for self, for me, of my understanding of this world in which I am living and co-creating in.
Yeah, and so what happens when you guys have all been down your rabbit holes, excuse me, and every time you go down a rabbit hole and then you come back up, you've got new information. But we don't stop there. We don't go, oh, that's the truth. We keep going with it, and something else drops in, and it's like, oh, what is that? Let me look at that. Because if you stop, you stagnate. And so it's really important to keep going with the information that most interests you, especially when it's to your benefit. Now we're talking about self here, self-realization, self-study. So this is a part of that inside job. And for example, Norma sent me, because I heard a really interesting from a friend. He's like, oh, you worked with Enki. You helped with the DNA. And you were saying, no, you can't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. Because when they were first putting the DNA in humans so that they could procreate, it was for their benefit. And now what's happened is, beautifully, that didn't all fully transpire. So it's quite cool to see that. And then, so I have a bunch of DNA information within me. And so now I'm starting to pay attention and watch some more DNA stuff. So I may too be triggered. And I'm like, oh, it's all about the frequency to activate. And I'm getting this meditation coming in around it, because we have 4 strands of DNA at the base of our spine. And the goal would be to activate those, because in your DNA is all your whole lineage history. Everything about you is there. And then we would like to figure out how to tap into that and find out more about it. Because if we can help you guys between the, enealogy and activating your DNA, those are like 2 beautiful synchronicities that will help you to understand yourself so much more. And remember, often your greatest pain point is your greatest purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. And we all have the same purpose, to come into this and to remember who we truly are, and then be a beacon of light for others. So again, those pain points that happened in your life, those traumas, can be your gifts to share with others and help other people through similar things. Everybody's been through similar things. And so by doing that, it's been really, 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 really heart expanding for me to go, because everyone's like, well, what's my purpose? And for me, it's always like, I'm not going to pinpoint a purpose. I'm going to just keep seeking, and will not stop seeking, and share what I have as I come along with it. And that's always been our goal. Absolutely.
I feel that probably for me to be able to explain it in a simpler way, as you speak to the DNA that sits at the base of our spine, here's a simple way to understand what this will assist in. As it sits at the bottom of the spine, we look at the spine, and we look at it as like, the reason why it's referenced as like a Jacob's ladder, and then you have the 33 vertebrae and things like that. You got to remember, whatever information you're utilizing to help yourself understand this place, this construct, but most important, yourself, is you're going up and down this ladder. Whether you know it or not, you're always going up and down this ladder, because the mind is the meeting place for the mind, body, and soul. So when you have to go down to get the supplies and the tools and the guides to take back up, to understand how to build a very, very strong foundation to propel from. But there is an order to it. It is very, very orderful in how it needs to be understood. So as we do this, then what this does is it does help us expand in our way of perception, because what we do is we alter our way of thinking, and we take ourselves out of the conditioning thought that we were born into. Because the one thing I knew, being younger and going through this and having these experiences and going, what is going on here? This just does not seem right. And the foundation I seem to be standing on does not feel solid. And that's where that took me off on my own journey to find my own tools and guides and, the things, the information that I utilized, even if it was small, if it resonated, I utilized it and seen that this helped, that's a part of the rebar I need for the concrete that I know that I'm eventually going to pour, whatever it may be. So it's very important for us to understand that growth comes with work. This is the labor of the work. And when you come to understand the sacred feminine in her role, in the beauty of the womb, the Visca Pisces, the geometry, and you begin to understand the side of the wonderful masculine energy that is the mirror, but yet so different. When you understand more about what they ultimately represent, this dance will become simpler. It will become more beautiful because it exists. Those two exist with the human form, as we come to understand how to bring them together to have that more, dance that seems so eloquent, that helps us get back to center. We have a point. It's a center point. And when you understand that, then you get into the geometry of understanding that from that point, that's your center. And then the other part where you have the pencil is you try and you make that circumference as far as you can, but understand from all that we're ever wanting and needing to do for self to understand is get back to center. That's where all your answers lie, because that's where everything is.
Right? Yeah. Cheeky Monkey says integrated dance, the tango. Absolutely. It can be, right? And so when we stray too far from our center, there's some people in the world right now that won't go back to their center. They've gone too far. They've taken it too far. And they're, I like to say, lost soul. What did you said something else, Norma? What was the word you used?
Basically, they're
damn souls.
They're damned. They damned themselves. They doomed themselves, because what happened was somewhere along the line, they were tricked. They were fooled. They were, just as some of us have been, because like I said, we were born into a system that we didn't know was so distorted and so inverted on us. And I'm not talking about in, I'm talking about out. So when we look at this and people get to a certain point, certain degree, if they don't have that ability to go to that meeting place where the most important aspect of self resides, and they get so overwhelmed through the information that they've been fed, so much information from this world and construct that in which we are in, then what happens is those are programs, and those programs are run. And in that, what's happening is the programs are becoming more impressionable than the voice of self. And there are some humans that get to that point to where there's no coming back after they've performed or once they've performed things that prevent them from being able to not be damned or doomed. And so this is where us as beings first must come to understand that at a certain level, we must find within ourselves a level of compassion for them, for they did not know. And what we do with that is we look at it and we use it as a tool or a guide to understand what it is we want and what it is we don't want, because this is a world of contrast, and that's what this is. And in that world of contrast, you can see the beauty in it, or you can see not so beautiful things in it. But understand that's what assists us in understanding who we are and how we become the greater aspects or the greater versions of who it is we seek to be.
Yes. Luna says they were beguiled. What was the sentences you used the other day? The begotten.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because as the more information I understand and I come to know, and it's one of those that is like, I keep having these like epiphanal moments where I'm like, okay, I understand right here, right now, as to what information I've got, that I understand how all this is taking place to a level and degree. So this is where, if you want to reference the Bible, which is, it has its own codes, is that the begots, when you look at Genesis and stuff, and you go after that, and you say, this one begot that one, and this one begot that one, and begot and back and begot, then what you're doing is you're seeing that it's just a lineage that's just kept going on, because, that lineage lives through the next one after them. And that's where all this comes from. So when I was looking at that, it was like my mind made it somewhat of a riddle of I know how the begots became the begottens because of the begetters and their deception. And what that means is I understand how this world came to be as it came to be, because of the information in the secret societies and all that kept this information from us. But what also took place too is most of them don't understand the fullness of the information either. They're utilizing and using, and that's where those lines are crossed, because they do not have the full disclosure of the information of the order of things, the true order of things that keep getting moved and reordered. Hence the reason why you always hear the word new order, because you have these beings that stepped over a line and forgot that first they were love, and there's no going back to that, which means they become nefarious in their motives. And that's how we begin to understand how this came to be. And once you understand that, then that's how you begin to understand how to change that.
Yeah, beautifully put. Beautifully put. A great message. Let's we'll be talking about this again and further and more, because we are all connected. And so as you go into these, family gatherings, and you might be challenged, we invite you to be the observer, to be the eye of the storm. And one of the reasons that people always feel drained after an event where they go to, and they always, I'm so drained after I see this person, or I'm so drained after Christmas dinner with everyone. And I encourage you to do this and think about it this way. When we open our energy up to others, and we do it by having an expectation. So we're putting our intention or attention onto somebody, having an expectation for a way to them to understand us, believe us, or behave a specific way. And when we do that, that channel of energy opens up. And you can't have an expectation of someone else like that, because the only person that can control is themselves. So you can only control your reaction, your communication, your energy. So you can maintain your energy by not having expectations of others to behave a specific way or understand you. You will drain your energy that way because you've opened the channel. You set an intention with them, and then when they don't behave that way, you may get a little frustrated, which is just giving it all away. And now you're having a reaction versus waiting and having a response. Yeah. Absolutely. So this is all about understanding yourself and how you work and how you tick, and find your center point. That is your eye of the storm, but it is also your whole point of where to find what you need for self. Yeah.
I want to speak to, I hope that I'm able to deliver this in a way where everyone understands. At some level and at some point, whatever it is that you are facing or going through or feeling, guess what? So is the next person beside you. Whether it doesn't matter which side. And the purpose and reason being is because, just like you, not everybody has the tools and the guides that they need to understand what steps to take to better understand how to come to a balance within self. So if you can understand what I've just conveyed, then that right there is enough to be able to put you in a different state of being, and to come at, no matter who it is and where you're at, you'll be able to see things through a different lens. And through that different lens, you'll be able to project something different about that individual, because then you're not looking at them, you're seeing them. And you're going to be able to see them in a way where it reflects the very things that we all struggle with, that we all work towards finding what it is that we need for that guidance, and with those tools to better our experiences for us, but we must know that it must begin within us first.
Yeah. So set differences aside and realize that you too can be a peacemaker in ways. You don't have to win an argument. You don't have to prove your point. That's not important. What's important is preserving your own energy. And this is what we want to remind you this holiday season, is to preserve your energy and make sure you have some time for self. You don't need to be in and out the whole time with family. You can say, I'm just going to lie down and have a nap. Napadations. We had one before the show. It's a given in my life, especially during the holidays. I also went mountain biking yesterday, so I'm like, oh yeah, I need a nap. Yeah, absolutely. And we have a comment in here in just regards to the Garden of Eden and that whole story. That will be coming through. We will tap right into that to the very beginning. I have a pretty good understanding of it. We just want to dig in on a few more things, and we'll do a program with Melzi on that, on resonance, because definitely our DNA relates to our resonance. And yeah, and just so those, I think I made a mistake copying the key to go to Rumble, because it looks like I took over Driven and overwrote it. So there's a lot of people in the chat like, I'm really confused what happened. So my apologies. Christmas presents. Yeah, thought you were getting Driven. You got Adventures for Connection. So we'll get that fixed up after this and get them reloaded so that you can watch them on the right screen. But yeah, I haven't done something like that for a while. I find it actually quite funny. Yeah, absolutely. And so enjoy this holiday season. Find joy in the children. They're innocent, and animals. They will always make you be more curious with wonderment. Yeah. And no matter the stories people have about what this holiday really is, it doesn't really matter in the end of the day right now. It really matters that we find connection so that we can help people shift and have another perspective when the time is right. But this is a time for common unity and peace. And we just want to send you tons of love. We're going to go do a puzzle and play some games. I have another friend coming over who, it's usually the Misfit Christmas, right? Like, who doesn't have somewhere to go? Come on over. And it reminds me of that movie we watched with the Misfit Island with the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And everyone deserves to be loved no matter what their perspective is. Yeah. And kids are magic energy, Luna. Absolutely. I always like to ask the young ones if they're 3 or younger. I ask the young ones, do you remember where you were before this? It's a good question to ask them, because a lot of them remember, especially now. Yeah, absolutely. Jerry's asking how you can get a hold of us. So Adventures for Connection, as you see here, there is a website. You can look up my name, Tanja Powell, Tanja Powell. So we have the website. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, on Telegram, and and YouTube, and I use my name all the time. Yeah. All right, let's talk about those squiggly lines, because there's many of you that don't know these squiggly lines. This on the bottom over here underneath Norma. So it would be on your, I believe, your far right corner. So we have Adventures for Connection with Tanja and Norma. And then this is representative of the masculine and feminine. And so the masculine, you can see, is on the right. If we were turning it around and we were that, then the masculine is on the right. Sorry, masculine on the right, feminine on the left as you're looking at it. And they're sacred spirals. It's sacred geometry. And so sacred geometry, is how this whole construct is made. Sacred geometry is how the universe is made. And so you think about a black hole. If you drill down into a shell, the shell has the same thing. Trees have rings on them. Yeah, absolutely. And so then when we balance our masculine and feminine, you can see there's a little spark in between. And when you balance that, you're going to feel like, this is my point, my center point. Because when you're too masculine and you're driving to do all the time, or you're too feminine, you're allowing everyone else to drive over you. This is finding that balance in between, finding your center point, and then it's much easier to connect. So along with the grounding and opening up your crown chakra. So absolutely. We all know what you're thinking, and no, it's not that. Yeah, absolutely. And so
This
we're
goes,
sending, yeah, go ahead, Norma.
no, I was going to say this runs so much more profoundly and deeply on the energetic level. Okay, you got to understand here in the manifest, the in order to manifest, we had to become manifested in a gendered way. But when you get to understanding that inwardly, it is the energies that we are working with to help better propel this vessel that we are guiding. Then it's the energies that are coming to have the dance, not the human. The human is just the manifested state of the understanding, because then you begin to alter the human in its genetics, because once you understand how to work with the energy, the human experience that you have becomes so much more profound, becomes so much more fun, becomes so much more joyful.
Right? Absolutely. And so, you're going to see so much more of this. This is all going to become commonplace, that you're an energy being first. Your cells are always moving. And, there's so much more going on in this universe that we can't see. So we're connected with you online right now. There's no wires doing that. It's sending out, but we can't see those waves, right? We can't see that communication going out. We just trust that it works, because obviously it works because we can see it. And in this case, you need to believe to see things. And as we adjust, and as the energies increase, and as the earth is going through her shift and her changes, and the sun's going through changes, everything's changing around us. This is one thing you can count on right now. How comfortable can you be with everything changing around you? And so this balance will help you. And when you realize everything is just energy and at play, and that you too can help to manage your own energy in a different way, it makes this a lot more fun. Best adventure game ever. Best Christmas present ever was
Right?
getting to know me. Yeah, and taking the time to get to know me. So on this holiday season, we wish all of you to get to know you better, to be the eye of the storm, whatever that may be for you, and to find love and compassion first, to let go of judgment, to let go of division, and to, yeah, just exude love. Because when you do that, your entire reality will shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Norma, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, like I said, this is about, this may be the time for you to understand who and where you are in your understanding of self. And although there may be times you may find it challenging, understand that everyone else around you is finding that to a level and degree for themselves as well. And in that, instead of responding or reacting in your observance, it may even lead you to ask questions, to want to listen, to hear somebody in where they are, where instead of it becoming chaotic and crazy and seem overwhelming, to a place where you have a conversation with someone and you get to know more about who they are, so that way as they speak they get to know more about themselves as well. So you see, that's where this mirror takes place, and that's the beauty in this, because we are all being what we need to be with one another, for one another, until you just get to that place where it seems that you'll know the difference on when it's to one another. But I understand all of us are here having this human experience, and we're doing it in the best way that we can, given that the lack of knowledge that we've always was meant to have was, it was hidden, so to speak. So, and it just go with love. Always, for every step you take, step with love. Love first, because in that love, you are doing what you need to put yourself in a position, in place where, whether somebody else can do that or not, you're still going to be safe in who you are. And that's
Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, just enjoy.
Yeah. And Michael, just be specific for you. So we can't control how other people are going to perceive themselves or their lives. But what we can control is the space we hold for them, no matter how they are. And you know, when you shift and your resonance is around people, you are showing their soul, their energy, what it is like to be whole and healed and to feel good. And that resonance, quite often it will trigger them, but it can also be very, very healing for them. And so if it takes time and you need to spend less time with those, do that for yourself. But just remember that by judgment on them for how they're behaving or what they've done in the past, it's not going to do anything but judge on you, if that makes sense. So yeah, it takes time and it takes practice. Trust me. Yeah, this love resonance that we can do. So absolutely. All right, we're going to leave you with this, and happy holidays, everyone. We love you. We love you. Enjoy. And I'm sure I'll see you over the holidays here as well. So take care. And you know where to find us. Telegram. It's all posted below the video as well. All right. Happy holidays.